Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Unplugged Woodworkings podcast. So I'm a little late this week. I've been pretty busy doing non-woodworking things actually, unfortunately for me. So before I go ahead, I'd like to say a thank you to a couple of people. There's a guy who I forgot to mention some time ago by the name of Damien Walker, I believe, and today Robert Maritis, I want to say. I'm probably butchering the names, but the two of those guys, they actually bought me a coffee, which is very, very nice. A little thank you to those two guys. So, what have I been up to? Obviously, I haven't been doing a great deal. Non-woodworking stuff, but the woodworking stuff I did get done, that was more last week. I managed to get the video released for the how to build a Roman workbench. For anyone that missed it, it's very, very long-winded, but I think it's very detailed, so if it's something you want to do, I would check it out. I also did get me book or me guide released. I'm kind of wasn't happy with the way it turned out on Kindle. The PDF was like really good. Well, it's good for me. Obviously, there's room for improvement, but I was happy with the PDF for what it was. But when it went on to Kindle, I just wasn't happy with the way Kindle kind of like made it look, basically. So I need to kind of sort that out. I'm not at home at the moment, so it's going to be a little bit of time before I get that sorted out. I may actually just release the PDF, make the PDF available. It's a lot better. Let us know what you think, if you kind of would prefer to, if anyone's interested, that is. Also, if you are interested, there will be links in the description, so you will be able to pick up the book. You will be able to see the video if you want to see the video. I did also do a blog post a few days ago that was titled, what did I title it again? Roman Workbench Perfection. That was just basically going over some of my thoughts, some of my ideas, how I've basically from bench to bench I've got like closer. What you'll be expecting to see in the future when I make me next bench. Yes, there will be a next bench, trust us, there will be, because I wasn't kind of allowed to do what I wanted to do with this bench, because obviously I was building this bench for other people to build, so I kind of didn't want to kind of explore my own sort of preferences and stuff. So I just thought it would be better for everyone if I'd done it the way I'd done it. Obviously there was plans available for that in the book, what I released as well. So before I go any further, you probably can hear some humming in the background. That's going to be all the way through the podcast. I don't know how bad it's going to be, so I'm going to apologise in advance. There's nothing I can do about it. It's either put up with the humming or don't do a podcast. So I've decided to do the podcast, so here we are. So as I was saying before, Rob Moritz, I want to say, I'm probably butchering his name. He basically says, he sent us a little message with his cup of coffee, and he basically said, for a topic to talk about, can we talk about some stuff, like how long some stuff takes you? I think it was geared more towards the Anarchists design book by Chris Schwartz. If you haven't read it, I would really recommend you read it, or you get the book. It's I think I got it as a present, or I possibly might have bought it myself, but it's one of my favourite books. I do refer back to it time and time again. I have read it a couple of times. It's quite a good book. I think so. It's probably one of my favourites. Yeah, I'll probably say the favourite, probably. I'm not too keen on some of these other ones, but that specific book, I think it's really, really cool. So anyway, Rob was saying, like, stuff, how long does it take you to do stuff? So today I'm going to kind of cover a few things on that, some of the processes of how I do stuff and like how long it takes us. I can't give you like 100% answers. These are kind of going to be off the top of my head, just kind of memory. I don't really time myself when I do stuff like this, so it might seem quick to some people and it might seem like really long to other people. And also bearing in mind, when I do stuff like this, I do tend to do it like literally from scratch, so bear that in mind if you think it's taking a long time, and if you think it's quick, it's probably that you just need a little bit more practice, and you shouldn't really be gauging yourself off me or anybody else. As long as you're enjoying what you're doing, it shouldn't really, and you're under no time constraints, it really shouldn't matter how long it takes you, as I said, if you're enjoying it. So as I said, I'm going to go over a few things. This is going to kind of be the Anarchist's design book related, although I am going to explore maybe a couple other things as well, veering away from them. So this isn't actually in the Anarchist's design book, a Welsh stick chair, but there is like I think in the newer edition there is some sort of like armchair. I do believe Chris Schwartz made a PDF, like a downloadable PDF file for it for the update. So if you've got the old edition, you could go on. I think they're still issuing them. I think, I could be wrong, but if you pop onto the Lost Art Press, have a look around, or a Google, you may be able to download it, the plans and obviously the chapter for the armchair. So I've got here on my list one leg Welsh stick chair. So my process for this, typically if I've got I don't know, if I've got like a bit of a slab, I'll split the slab, bearing in mind that the slab, what I've got, it'll probably be like about 99.9% it'll be either air dried or more than likely kiln dried. So when I get it, I'll basically just split it. I split it with either my axe or my throat. It depends. It depends what the wood's doing and stuff. Sometimes it can be done in seconds, and sometimes it can't. It depends if I can see the grain of the wood as well, because sometimes it might be a bit too furry and I might struggle to see it. But basically, I'll split the wood. That takes like literally seconds, doesn't it? Then from there, I'll take it into the shave horse. I basically run over it with my draw knife, basically square it off. I'll give it a mark out, on both end grains, cross, give myself a circle with a compass, and then I just start working on the corners. And basically, if I'm making a Welsh stick chair, they'll tend to be hexagonal. That's my preference. I do like the hexagonal legs rather than the round legs on those type of chairs. Although, I suppose it depends how I'm feeling on the day, but I do typically go towards the hexagonal. So I'll rough out the hexagonal on the shave horse solely because it's quick. There's no other reason than it's just quick. So from there, I will take it straight to the basically I'll turn myself round. On the oak bench, I can actually have two tasks going at once. So I could have the shave horse set up, I turn myself round, and then I can be set up for something like planing. So basically I'll use a bench dog, and a Veritas Wonder Dog or Wonder Pup. Basically put the leg in there and just work it straight when we play in number 4 or number 5, typically whatever sharp really. So I'll go over what I've just roughed out. I'll get it pretty decent, and obviously just start making a taper on that. If I'm doing a taper, which I do normally do a taper, so I'll do a taper more towards the conical tenons. So after that's done, I will put it back into the shave horse, and basically start on the conical tenons. Same again, draw knife, spoke shave, and then finish off with a tenon cutter. So for one of these legs, I think I'm looking at about everything I've just explained there is roughly 45 minutes, 50 minutes, something like that. I believe it takes us, that's per leg. So for anyone that uses power tools, you're probably thinking, wow, that's a long time. And yeah, it kind of is. Bearing in mind, the last chair that I built, the last well stick chair I built it in the summertime, and I was outside in the garden, so it was beautiful. The weather was really good. I think it was just was it April-ish time, April in 2020. So everyone was in lockdown. Like it wasn't really great in that sense, but. When I built the chair, I enjoyed myself. Obviously, I was in the back garden. I would have been in the back garden in the sun anyway. So the weather was great. So kind of that 45, 50 minutes, it was very enjoyable to me. I love the sun, as I constantly state in my podcasts and my blogs. All right. So keeping with the Welsh stick chair, I'm going to say next drilling and reaming. So I think this does crop up a couple of times in the anarchists design book. Obviously I haven't got the design book in front of us, and I'm kind of a bit stumped when I'm thinking about things, yeah. But drilling and reaming. So I'm gonna say, like, how I do it. Obviously this is how a lot of people are going to do it. They're going to mark out, they're going to square across both ends where the legs are going to go. They're basically going to mark out the ends, the holes. They're going to get the sight lines drawn up, and then obviously drill the holes. So I think for something like this, to do that, for the four holes plus marking out, I'm going to say roughly about 35 minutes, and that's obviously for the four holes in the two ends of the chair or the bench. Actually, when I'm thinking about this, I've got a bench in my head. I don't know why, because I'm talking about a chair, but it's kind of the same sort of thing. So when I'm drilling, I think I've touched on this a few times. I find the drilling quite easy. A lot of stuff like that I tend to use like a 5/8 drill bit, like my bracing bit. So when I'm drilling, I don't tend to use a square for me left and right. Although I did use that basically just to show everyone in the video I've just done. But like when I'm going like following in my sight line, and obviously you want to be keeping the drill like 90 degrees. That's like left to right of my sight line. I don't tend to bother with that. The only thing I do bother with is obviously using my T-bevel, my T-square. Basically that's usually set at about 15 degrees. So that's all I use. So I can drill quite I can drill quite close to the, obviously to the angle that I want, to obtain me splay and me rake. I can do that quite well. I don't really have much of an issue with that. What I do have more of an issue with is when I'm reaming out. I tend to go off quite a lot. I don't find it difficult. It's just more time consuming for me personally. But as I said, when I'm drilling the 4 holes, that goes quite easy. So you've got about 35 minutes, for 4 holes, and that plus that's marking them out. I don't think that's too bad. It probably may be a little bit quicker. It kind of, just depends. So the reaming, as I've just been saying, that can be kind of problematic a little bit. Depends. Me personally, I think you've got to be careful when you're reaming. I think this would be made a lot easier for myself if I was to use a brace extension, and I'd be able to better gauge the the angle, because obviously I'd have the extension and I'd be able to basically put me sliding bevel onto the piece of the seat or the bench, whatever I'm making, and better eye me 15 degrees in. But I don't have an extension. I actually do need to get one of those. I'll have to see if I can order one. So the way I do it, which I stated on the video, I use a kind of, it's just like I can't even remember the size of it. I think it's like 30 millimeters by 30 millimeters square. I think it's about 2 foot long, and it's just basically got a conical tenon, which was made from the Veritas tenon cutter. So I just ream a little bit, and then basically put the tenon in, give it a couple of taps with the mallet, and just present me bevel to it, me sliding bevel, and kind of just keep on going like that. I am getting better at doing it, but I think that's I don't even know how to describe it. I cannot say it's annoying, but I cannot say it's, I don't know if it's, it's not, I don't know how to describe it, to be honest with you. So obviously I just go backwards and forwards like that, and I go backwards and forwards a lot more than I do with the when I'm just drilling the holes. I mean, I think when I'm drilling the holes, I might use the bevel. I might check the bevel like twice, and as I said, I don't really check for 90 degrees on my sight line, because I can get that like pretty much bang on. That's a good thing for me. And as I said, the 15 degrees, that's not much of an issue for us. I do tend to actually get it like on the 15 degrees. Quite regularly when I'm doing stuff like that. But obviously the same can't be said for the reaming. So as I said, it's just repeat. Like basically ream a little bit, tap the jig in, or the fake leg, whatever you want to call it. Present your bevel, see what it's like, tap it back out, and just keep going backwards and forwards like that. I'm going to say maybe about 10 to 15 minutes per hole. So what you're looking at there's like, that might be like maybe a maximum of an hour. I don't think it would take us an hour, 15 minutes. I don't know. As I said, I'm getting this off the top of my head. Don't get us wrong, there might be, and there has been ones that like, I'll get it like, really quickly, first time sort of thing. But then you get the ones where you're like, you'll do a couple of turns and it'll end up too close towards you, for your rake and your splay. And you try to adjust it a little bit, and then it's like really too far away from you for the raking spleen. It's like you might be going backwards and forwards like that. So you do get the odd leg like that, or at least I do. So I don't know. Like, probably on average, I'm going to say approximately 10 minutes. Sticking with the bench or with the legs, or with the seats, I'm gonna go for shaping the seats on a chair. I think in the Anarchist's design book, it's not like the seat's not saddled per se. I think it's just got like a very slight belly in it, or a very fine curve. It's nothing special, but obviously I think Chris Schwartz actually says just by putting just a very slight curve like in a chair, it just makes it a lot more comfortable, and I can confirm it just by putting a very slight curve in it, like a chair seat will make it like a lot more comfortable. And then obviously you've got the seats where you'll saddle, like you'll basically saddle them. So on the last chair I built, I did actually saddle it on the chair before that, which was like the first kind of Welsh sticky chair I'd done. That was just had a slight curve in it, so I can't really remember how long that took us, so I'm going to kind of go to the last one I'd done. That's a bit more fresh in my mind. So I'm going to kind of say that the seats has already been shaped, because I can't quite remember how long it took us to shape the seat. I think this particular slab, it was like pretty badly bellied, cupped. It had like some pretty severe cupping in it, so I did have to actually like give it a bit of a slight flattening just so I could work it, basically. I think I'm going to have a little guess here actually, and say what it took to cut the seats, basically to shape the seats, before I even began shaping it or anything like that. I'm kind of going to say maybe an hour and a half, maybe. So that's basically cutting it to length, cutting it to width, and then obviously I had like the back of the seat was like it had an arch on it. I think actually from the arch, I think I like fanned out a little bit. I did. I fanned it out a little bit. So the chair, I made a little bit pictures on my Instagram if you want to go and check them out. The chair I did was kind of a bit of a cross. I think it was like a mixture of about 3 chairs, that kind of just took what I liked from certain chairs and just mingled it all together. And it didn't actually turn out too bad, to be honest. So obviously the seat was cut obviously with a handsaw. So I cut it to width, cut it to length. And then once I'd marked out the arch at the back, or the curve at the back, however you want to say it, I basically just sawed the corners off, basically off the back end. I mean, that in itself took a while, because I think the slab was like somewhere in the region of, what was it? Maybe 2¼ inch in thickness somewhere. Obviously it was kiln dried as well, so just even taking them corners off took a little while. I think it might have been like maybe 7-8 minutes of just to take them corners off. So I had 2 of them to take off, obviously refined that a bit more, and then I stood it on its end, and just took my chisel to it, and just started taking all the the corners off that were created with the saw. Because I think with the saw I'd done like maybe 2 cuts at either corner. So basically, just took it off like somewhere in the region of 45 degrees, and then obviously I had them 2 other corners, and just took them off with the saw as well. And then just started working it with a chisel. I think after the chisel I started using the Shinto rasp. I've recommended these quite a lot. Go and get one. I think I've got one on me affiliate link for I've got like an Amazon store. I think there's one on there anyway. But regardless of that, go somewhere else if you don't want to go on there and get one. They are really good. Highly recommend them. So basically used the Shinto rasp, which worked quite well, quite quickly. So from there, I believe I shaped the underside. Did I shape the underside? I think I shaped the underside first. So basically the underside had somewhat of a bevel on it. Or did it? I'm not too sure now. Did I do the top or the underside first? I can't quite remember. Anyway, so I put a bevel on the underside, and that was basically done with a combination of me plane going across the grain to create the bevel. I think I used my chisel to basically gouge out large portions as well on the sections that were running with the grain, and then I think I finished up with my spoke shave, and obviously that was just on the arch section. So when I done the top of it, obviously I used a Travisher. It was set quite coarse. I know a lot of people use scopes, and there's a couple of other tools you can use. I do have a scope somewhere, but I think I don't know where it is. I think it might be around at my mother's house in my old shed. I think I should really try and dig it out. But anyway, I just used a Travisher, and it didn't take that long. It was quite. I had it set quite coarse. It didn't really take that long. Worked that. Finished up with a card scraper, and the front section I rounded that off just a little bit where the underside of your legs would be, more towards the crease of your knees, the back of. Just rounded that off with my spoke shave. I think that was you could say it was a little bit time consuming. I do believe you can kind of do this on a table saw. In fact, I know you can do it on a table saw. I've seen a American guy do it. He had like some weird and wonderful jig set up on the table saw, and he done it in like about 5 minutes or something. So there's a big difference compared to doing it on a table saw than me doing it by hand. I don't know. I mean, like, maybe after the chair's shaped and stuff, I think even just for us to saddle the chair itself, that was like maybe you might have been looking at an hour and a half, 2 hours, somewhere in that region. I mean, again, it's some people might think it's quick, some people might think it's a long time. I don't know where I would be with that, but as what I will say is I was very happy with the saddle once I'd done the saddle. It is quite quite comfortable, the saddle. I did actually end up keeping the chair. It was kind of built more for a smaller person, and I am a small person, so I just kept it. It was quite a nice chair. I quite liked it. Not that I use it. I don't really use it a great deal, but it is nice. It's in my sitting room. It's more like an ornament than anything else, to be honest. But from time to time I do use it. Sometimes I drag it outside if it's a nice day. If I've stopped work and I'm having a coffee or whatever, I'm having a little bit of a break. I do drag it outside sometimes. So, But yeah, the like I say, you might find it long or you might find it a short time, but you know, I'm going to say about 2 hours. You know, I think it was worth it. You know, like I said, I am happy with how the seat turned out. So moving away a little bit from the book, the Yannick's design book, still on the woodworking subject, obviously. Sharpening, I'm going to say sharpening a plane iron or sharpening a chisel. Yeah, it's very similar. So, I think I've kind of covered how I sharpen. There is a video on YouTube if you want to check it out. Like it's a bit of an old one. Me technique does differ now, but it's close enough anyway. Just to let everyone know, when I did first start sharpening freehand, I'm guessing it depending. This was dependent every time I'd done it, but it could take us, I think, just to sharpen an iron, a plane iron. I think it was in the region of about maybe half an hour to 40 minutes when I first started doing it, just to kind of give you a bit of a, you know, where I started sort of thing, you know. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be a lot of people laughing at that and, you know, thinking, wow, that's a long time to sharpen an iron. At the same time, there's probably going to be a lot of people saying, well, yeah, that's how long it takes me. So take that into consideration, what I've just said. So that was, obviously, this was some time ago. So now I can actually sharpen. I don't know if any of you have seen the video. I done like a 60-second like kind of a breakdown of how I would sharpen a plane iron or whatever else, and I sharpen me 101. So the video was like 60 seconds, but in reality, I think that took us 7 minutes, and that's with like moving the camera around and like a different, you know, taking a couple of different takes. You know, if I'm saying something to the camera and obviously I mess up, I've got to repeat what I've just said. So, you know, it's not, obviously I'm not scripted, but you know, I've got to make sense on camera. You know, so like I say, that took us 7 minutes. That's with moving the camera and obviously, you know, messing up a few times and having to, you know, do a couple of retakes. So you might be, you know, I might be looking at like, what, 5 minutes. If I'm sharpening me hock plane irons, those are like hardened steel. I can't quite remember, is it like A1? There's like A1 and A2, and I have got like one of each. I can't remember which one's a harder one, but there's like, obviously there's one that, you know, requires a bit more work. But I mean, even them two, you know, I can pretty much have them two sharpened, like obviously one at a time, you know, in, I don't know, maybe about 10 minutes, maybe a little bit less, you know, just to give you an idea. So there is actually like a big difference from, you know, half an hour, 40 minutes, you know, and I'm getting that down to like 7 to 10 minutes. You know, so if anyone's doing it now, like, you know, just kind of stick with it. Don't be discouraged, because obviously practice, you know, I know people probably don't want to hear it, but practice does make, you know, perfect, basically. It's the same as, you know, you've probably heard the old saying, you know, it takes 10,000 hours to become a master. It's the same principle, it's just practice, you know, so stick with it, you know, don't be disheartened, because I think kind of some people get like a little bit disheartened about how long, you know, things like take them, you know. Sometimes it can be like a little overwhelming. I mean, even for me, sometimes when I'm doing something, I'm like, how long has this took us? You know, should it have took us this long? It really shouldn't have took us this long, you know, when I'm having a bit of a conversation with myself, you know. It's kind of a regular occurrence, that, by the way. But yeah, I'm kind of sure you know where I'm kind of going with that, you know. It's, you know, when you kind of think to yourself, should it really be taking us that long? But even I get that sometimes. So I think I'm going to call this the last one, and this is going back to the, I guess, design book. but on a bigger scale. So in the Yannicus design book, there is a kind of, I can't quite remember the name of it. Is it a work table? I think it is the work table. So basically the work table is a slab. It has 2 sliding dovetails on the, obviously on the underside of it, and the legs are fixed to the 2 buttons that go into it. So I didn't actually make that. I decided to do one better and and make a dining table, and this was for a client. So I did actually do a podcast on this. Did I do an article? I don't think I done an article, but I did talk about it quite a few times, and the reason I talked about it a few times is because that table broke us. It really broke us. There was a couple of times when it just like, you know, it really broke my soul, that table. Honestly, it's just so much work. You know, it's like that law, I can't remember, it's some type of law. It's like, how does it go? If anything can go wrong, it will go wrong. It's some type of, is it something to do with physics? You know, I'm sure someone will correct us, but yeah, it was one of those, what could go wrong did go wrong. So it was kind of the work table, but just on a bigger scale. Obviously, I did refine it to my own liking, obviously to the customer's liking as well. So the sliding dovetails, the female portion, that would be the bit that the section that's actually cut out of the underside of the table. So how I'd done it, I'd already done I'd already made the battens, or the male portion of the sliding dovetail. I basically clamped it into place and used that as a guide. Used the saw, took the saw all the way down. Done that to both sides. Now, me saying that sounds really quick, doesn't it? Well, I can assure you it wasn't quick. So same again, you know, I took that down, the saw had to go down. I think, what did I take it down? I think I took it down an inch, so that's like 25 millimeters into European kiln dried oak. You know, it took some time to actually make the cut all the way through. Obviously the 2 sides. So once I'd done the 2 sides, I can't quite remember if I'd done a relief cut in the centre. I think I did. I think I might have started it, and I think I might have given up because it was just taking so long, and I just decided to go to town on the joint with my chisels. You know, I give me 1-inch chisel a bit of a sharpening, and then just, you know, started, like, you know, hacking away at it. There's no bit like way to put it. Basically, I just like really started hacking away. You know, it did take a lot of time. There was a lot of material to remove for that. I mean, the male portion, the batten itself, you know, obviously I think that was done in somewhere in the region of what, maybe, I'm going to say half an hour, if that. You know, obviously I just had two 80-degree bevels to plane on either side, you know, so it wasn't too much of a biggie. But obviously the female portion, that was the biggie. There was just so much material, you know, to do. Once I got it close with the chisel, you know, I got my router playing out, and I was just going backwards and forwards with that. But the problem with that was that, you know, because I removed a lot of material with the chisel, you know, there was a lot of high and low spots, you know, like there was nothing consistent about it. So, you know, I was keep on having to go backwards and forwards with me router plane, constantly adjusting it. You know, obviously I had to find the highest point and then just start bringing it down, you know, incrementally from there. So, you know, that took quite some time, to be honest. So, like, all in all, I think with that joint, don't get us wrong, I know it's on a bigger scale than obviously what's stated in the Yannicus design book, like the work table. I know like my dining table was a lot bigger. I mean, the whole thing where I think was like about 8.5 stone, like, you know, all total, you know, so just to give you an idea, you know, it's I think that's like somewhere in the region of 55 kilograms, so it's really, really heavy. But I think in total, for one joint, that took me 3 hours. You know, that's a long time. You know, even when I was like doing it, and I was like, I remember looking at my phone, you know, how long it was taking us, and I was like, Jesus, I was like, you know, like I couldn't believe how long it was taking us. You know, but I think there's a lot of things like that. It'll just take you such a long time. But you know, there's things that you can do, like you can do it so quickly with hand tools. Some like tasks. In fact, some tasks are going to be quicker for you to do with hand tools rather than do with machines. Obviously, by the time you were to set a machine up, of course, if you're doing multiple cuts on the machine, obviously it's going to be beneficial for you to set the machine up. But you know, if you're just doing one or two things, you know, you're probably better off just using hand tools on some tasks. You know, so yeah, 3 hours. It's a long time. I don't think I enjoyed that too much, to be honest. I think that's the biggest sliding joint I've ever done. I think it's probably going to be the biggest sliding joint I'll ever do. I don't think I'll ever do anything bigger than that. I was kind of planning to do myself at another table. Obviously, that wasn't for myself, so I did kind of want to do a table like that. But obviously, I've moved over to, or I'm leaning more towards doing a kitchen island. Solely because the kitchen island, I can actually, you know, store things underneath it. You know, it'll obviously have cupboards. I was thinking about putting it on casters so I can move it around my kitchen dining room. My kitchen dining room's like absolutely tiny. I'd love to have a table in there, but I just don't think it's going to be practical in the house. So I think I am leaning more towards doing the kitchen island. I think I'm probably going to end up doing a video on it. It'll be pretty cool. I think I'll probably end up doing some plans as well, the blog and whatnot. That should be pretty cool. So keep an eye out for that if you're interested. I think I'm going to call it now. I'm getting pretty close to my time. So thanks again to the two guys that bought us a coffee, and to Robert as well, because this was pretty his idea. So same again, if you've got any questions, you know, hit us up on social media, ask them. You know, if I don't answer you, I'll try and get them in the questions into the podcast. If you've got some subjects you want us to talk about, same again, you know, just leave a comment on my social media, send us an email, whatever. You know, as I said, sometimes it can be so hard to think about subjects, like, you know, so sometimes I do need a little bit of help. It would be most appreciated if you could do that. Until the next time, I'll speak to you guys later.